MLB The Show 20 has been out for a week now, and I can honestly say with a happy face, the game doesn't completely suck yet. They're heading in that direction though. They've came up with 2 patches that are absolutely terrible. But let me tell you, MLB 19, down here. MLB 20, it's a solid right here right now, but it's heading in the wrong direction. Like, part of me just thinks that they see the feedback that we say on Twitter, loving the game at launch, and then they're like, oh, you thought you were gonna enjoy this game? Well, hold on one second, bang, press the button. Bro, there's no way that can be an accident every year where the game starts out good and it slowly gets worse every year, even after we talk about how much it sucks. It's almost like they're doing it on purpose. Unless... What's going on, everybody? We are back with another MLB 20 video, and like I said, the game's been out for about a week right now. So what I thought would be a good idea is I'm gonna go through, I'm gonna tell you guys all the settings that I think you should have, from pitching to hitting to fielding, and some that can help you out and get you comfortable as we start to progress through the year and throughout the game. I've been using the same pitching, fielding, and hitting mechanics for the past 3 years now, and it's something that I progressively learned watching top YouTubers and top performers at this game who play at the highest level. So definitely give it a try. If you don't like it, you can always switch things up, but I highly recommend going through all these and seeing what you feel more comfortable with. So a lot of times the default setting will have you at meter with your pitching analog. I like to have it as pure analog. A lot of people will do poles or they'll do meter. The thing about some of these settings is there's a lot of error that can go wrong with it. You don't have a lot of control over what you are doing. So a lot of the stuff that I'm doing may seem difficult at first, but if you hop in and you practice it and get the hang of it, you'll have much more control over your pitching, your hitting, your fielding than you would saying use like a meter or buttons or any of that. So I'm going to show you guys what meter looks like real quick. This is the pitching field that I obviously use, and we're going to use meter where it's like this, and then you press it, and yeah, I mean, that's basically all it is. You just press it when it gets to the red line, and then when it gets to that yellow line again. The thing I don't like about this is, like I said, you don't have a lot of control. I feel like a lot of times I'll make a perfect pitch, and then a lot of times I'll end up missing my spot and leave a meatball over the middle, and obviously that's just gonna lead to a lot of runs. So that's one that I generally like to stay with, You see there, we had a decent pitch and it was just way out of the zone. I just don't personally like that one. But the other one that a lot of people do use is going to be this pulse one. So we're gonna try that, show you guys what that looks like, and that you just press when it gets down there. A lot of people use this, but once again, you don't necessarily, oh, get up. Damn, that's a good play. But a lot of times, same thing as the meter. You see we're making control there, but it's a lot harder to control with this. Even if you get a good, a lot of times there'll be like very computerish style errors that happen in the game. So I stay away from this one also. The one that I use though, and the one that I've used for the past 3 years and you have the most control over, is by far pure analog. So with pure analog, it's a little bit difficult at first. You use the analog stick and you pull it back, and once you get to that yellow line, you flip the analog stick up towards the direction of the pitch. So we put the analog down and then we flick it down there, and you just have a lot more control of your pitches. And if you're like able to hit the yellow and get the ball inside the red marker, you're able to hit your spots pretty well and more consistently than you would say with a meter or a pulse. You're able to hit the corners, you're able to paint it and make good pitches. So that is what I use when it comes to my pitching mechanics. The next thing I'm going to show you is the pitching view. So right now it's in broadcast. That's the most common one, where the pitcher's just facing the batter, stuff like that. But a lot of people like to be behind the freaking batter. So I like to use zoom a lot too when I hit. Zoom, basically you're behind you got a catcher's point of view right there. It's almost like you're hitting, and then it's just able to kind of control the pitches that way too, where you're able to kind of see where you're locating the ball better. You got a close-up view. I believe this is the best one in my opinion, just because like I said, you got a close-up view. You're able to see the corner, kind of see where the batter is standing from a close-up personal view. But with this one, it's really all preference what you want. You can have a close-up, you can have like a retro looking like arcade style mode, offset where it's just a little bit farther from behind the plate. Strike zone's probably the best one in my opinion too. Strike zone's always good with that. Why? There's just a million different camera angles you can use for this, but it really depends on what you feel most comfortable with. This one, it doesn't matter nearly as much as the pitching interface like with pure analog and meter, because this one, it doesn't give you control over anything. It's just mainly your point of view of where you're pitching from. Next up, we got fielding. Fielding, this is definitely the most important one. It'll start off on buttons. Make sure you are on button accuracy. Definitely make sure you change it. We're going to show you what buttons looks like quick. See if we can get them to ground out on a nice ball down the middle here. Oh man. So buttons, all you're going to do is press the button and it's going to throw it to base. We're pressing triangle. He's going to throw the second base. Well, I thought he was, but he didn't. But that's all it is you press the button of the base you want to go to and it'll make that throw for you. But with that, there is a lot of computer error in it. It seems easy. All you got to do is press triangle and it'll throw it the second. Or a ground ball to short, you'll press circle, throw it the first. But every once in a while, you did everything right that you need to with that setting, but the computer will completely throw it away. There's just a lot of computer error with the buttons one, and one I definitely don't recommend. So even though you might make like 5-6 plays in a row, eventually you'll make an error by a play by the computer when you did everything right, and there is nothing more frustrating than doing everything right and then you get kind of screwed over for it. So we try to avoid that with these settings. We try to make sure you have all the control in the world, and that's why you want to go to button accuracy. So we'll try and do that, and you'll see with button accuracy, you press the button, except you hold it down as that goes out of play. You hold it down until there's like a green in the middle, and once it's hit that green in the middle, then you let go and it'll make that play. See right there, that's the button accuracy. We held down circle until it hit that green, and once it hit that green, we were able to make a nice throw across the diamond. Obviously, there's a lot of error that can go wrong with this. If you hit it in the yellow or the red, it's gonna be a bad throw, it's gonna be an error, but in my opinion, I would rather get screwed over by myself, like making a bad play, than the computer making a bad play for me when I did everything right. You see right there, once again, it's not that hard once you kind of get used to these settings. A lot of these settings, especially if you're not used to them, will be a little difficult at first, but once you hop into like practice mode, hop into a few games, you'll get the use of it. But it's a lot easier and you have a lot more control over what you do. But the other thing you want to make sure you do is to have throw canceling on. With throw canceling, every once in a while you'll make a bad throw. You obviously want to make sure you cancel it. Don't make that throw, or depending on the situation, a guy will all of a sudden be rounding second for whatever reason. You didn't think he was going to. You're throwing it second. You can cancel the throw and then throw to third and get him out there. So those are the two settings I highly recommend for fielding. So last up, and what separates the good players to the elite of the elite, is hitting. Hitting's always been the hardest every year, except for this year. People are hitting freaking bombs this year. Pitching's a lot harder, but with the patch, hitting's kind of hard again now, and it sucks. But hitting, it's a lot on preference too, but once again, you want to make sure that you have a good hitting view that you like. My hitting view's always been strike zone, where we're gonna actually switch over and we're gonna make sure we are hitting now. So we're gonna go back to the options now, and the strike zone I always use is hitting. Like with the pitching side, basically you're from the catcher's view, and if you're not one who cares about seeing the whole batter swing the bat, I really could care less. Like, I've seen Mike Trout bat, I've seen highlights, like I know how these guys bat. I just want to be able to hit the crap out of the ball. This is the best one. You're able to kind of track in pitches. This is what it looks like. You can't really see the body or anything of your batter, but you're able to track in pitches, and it's easier to tell if it's a ball or a strike, where you have like an offset view where you're a little bit further away. It's harder to tell exactly where that pitch is going. but you see there, we're able to kind of read it a little bit better and then adjust that way. Obviously, the ball seems like it gets on you a little bit quicker though. Able to smoke one up the middle, change up, down, and away for a strike. We were able to adjust, make a play. You're able to make better adjustments, I feel like. You don't want to swing at balls, you want to swing at good pitches, and I believe this is going to give you the best opportunity to do it. But if you're one who plays on like a offset type style where it's a little bit further away, this is going to be very difficult to get used to. So once again, highly recommend hopping into practice, trying this out. But there's a ton of cameras, and when it comes to cameras, it really just depends on what makes you the most comfortable here. We got a ton of different cameras. Strike Zone 2, which is a little bit further away if you want to see the whole body but you like being behind the catcher. Strike Zone 3, and then there's just a bunch of other different ones. You can hit from the pitcher, which I don't know why you would ever do that. I feel like it'd be pretty difficult, but there's a ton of different views you can have for it. But the one you want is, that I think in my opinion is the best, is definitely Strike Zone. Far and away the best in my opinion. I've tried a couple and none of them compared to this in my opinion. And one thing that is new this year is you can create your PCI. It's actually pretty cool. Years before, we always had the same like PCI styles, but not the same colors, and just you have a lot more control over your PCI this year. First off, if you're hitting, you need to make sure hitting interface, definitely most important, you need to be in zone. Directional is just, don't do directional. Directional is a little bit hard. You don't have a lot of control over what you do, and that's the most important thing, is having control. Don't do directional. Pure analog, don't do that. That's just weird. Definitely zone is the best one to do. Zone is where that PCI, as you go back here, this PCI is this is zone. This black thing in the middle that I'm moving, it serves as, they say it's not the barrel of the bat, but basically it kind of serves as the barrel of the bat. You want to get those black dots in the middle on the ball as best you can, and if you do that, the ball's going to obviously travel. It's like squaring the ball up on the barrel of the bat. So obviously you square the ball on the barrel of the bat, the ball's going to carry a lot, but you see we're just going to swing away. Holy shit. We're going to try to get it on the barrel of the bat, but you want to move this to where the ball is going, and that is how you make contact. That's how you're going to make hard contact. And you see we kind of moved it down and we were able to hit, and you see you get like a little bit of a frequency back, kind of showing you where your PCI was, your timing and everything. Did I tag early? Holy shit, I suck. And you kind of can adjust that way to kind of get your timing right on that. So that is definitely the most important one. Have zone, nothing else. The interfaces for hitting, fielding, and pitching, I wouldn't change at all. I would definitely do all three. It's the views that you kind of have control over and the views that you want to make, basically what makes you most comfortable. But with the settings I'm showing you right now, it gives you the most control over what you do. If you lose, it's going to be strictly because of you, not because of computer error. Where if you use like pure analog or directional, that PCI that I showed you is still there, but you have zero control over where it goes, and odds are it's not going to be by the ball. And if it's not by the ball, you're not going to get a lot of hard contact right there. So that is why we use zone right there. But like I was saying, you have a lot of control this year over your PCI and what it looks like right there. So PCI center, you can have circles, you can have diamonds. I like to have circles. I don't know, just my preference. And then there's a couple of different PCI that you can have, which was the inner part of it, obviously. And a lot of people do wedge. I just like basic. I'm a basic bitch. And then PCI outer is obviously the outside of it, and I also do basic. Color, I choose black just because I like being able to see the black and kind of line it up. But once again, your preference on what you want to see: white, yellow, orange, red, magenta, violet, a lot of different colors you can have right here. I choose black. And then the transparency is how light you want it. The less you have it down, the lighter it's going to be. The darker you want it, you obviously have it up. And then PCA fade out, you can have the outer fade out, or you can have all fade out, the inner and outer fade out. I just have the outer fade out. Obviously, I want to have the outside here. So we have the PCI, we have it created the way we want it, and then we just kind of line it up with the pitches, and then you can make adjustments that way. Anyways, guys, hopefully you enjoyed this video. Hopefully you go hop into like a practice mode or online game, computer game, and try out some of these. Definitely don't hop into ranked seasons and try any of these if you're not used to them. Some of these, it might take you a little bit to get used to, but once you get used to them, I promise you, you'll have a lot more control. And once you do that, it'll lead to success. You watch any top player, Magunsky, Kyle, anyone, any YouTuber, they all use these same settings basically. It really just depends on hitting view, but the interface, basically they all use the same. Then view, it's really your preference and what makes you the most comfortable. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, guys. If it did and if it helps you out, be sure to smash that like button. Next year we'll have a lot bigger audience coming when Xbox come over, so a lot more people are not going to know how to do this. So definitely get one step ahead of everybody, kind of learn, show your friends, tell your friends, make sure they're prepared for when MLB 21 drops. Like this video, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and I am out. Peace.